Have you ever reached a moment in life where you paused, just paused, and realized you weren't living as the person you once imagined you'd become? Not failing, not broken, not defeated, just drifting, doing enough to get by, but not enough to feel alive. It happens quietly. One day you wake up and notice that your dreams have become distant memories, your potential feels untouched, and your direction seems unclear. It's not because you're incapable. It's because somewhere along the way, life pushed harder than you expected, responsibilities grew, routines tightened, setbacks stung, and you simply adapted to survive. But here's the truth we often forget: you are not stuck with the current version of yourself. You can rebuild, you can redesign, you can rise again with new strength, new clarity, and a new story. Life may have shaped you, but it has not finished you. The power to rebuild isn't in the hands of your past, your mistakes, or your circumstances. It's in your hands, right now in this moment. Taking full responsibility for your life means recognizing, perhaps for the first time, that your outcomes are shaped far more by your decisions than by your conditions. It is the moment you step away from the comfort of blaming circumstances and step into the discomfort and power of ownership. Many people move through life believing that external forces determine their fate, their upbringing, their environment, the economy, the behavior of others, the luck they did or didn't receive. While these factors influence life, they do not define it. What truly defines your direction is how you respond to those forces, what choices you make next, and what standards you hold yourself to. Responsibility is not about guilt, it is about control. When you say, "I am responsible," you are not assigning blame to yourself for everything that has ever happened. You are simply acknowledging that your future is yours to shape. You reclaim the steering wheel from circumstance and place it firmly in your hands. Taking responsibility begins internally. It requires honest self-reflection, the ability to look at your results, your health, your career, your relationships, your habits, and admit that they reflect the decisions you've made over time. If you are unhappy with your results, responsibility empowers you to change them. Without accepting responsibility, you lock yourself into a passive role where life happens to you and improvement depends on luck. Responsibility is the antidote to helplessness. It converts frustration into strategy, anger into action, and excuses into accountability. Many people resist this shift because responsibility feels heavy. It forces you to confront your own role in the patterns of your life. It means admitting that maybe you didn't give your best effort. Maybe you accepted less than you deserve. Maybe you avoided difficult conversations. Maybe you stayed silent when you should have spoken up or tried to please others instead of honoring yourself. This honesty stings, but it is the very sting that wakes you up. When you take responsibility, you stop outsourcing your power. You stop saying, "They made me feel this way," and start saying, "I chose to respond this way." You stop saying, "I can't progress because of them," and start asking, "What can I do with what I have?" Responsibility transforms your language from limitation to possibility. Even in situations where you genuinely had no control over what happened, you still have control over the meaning you assign to it and the actions you take next. That is where your power lies. You cannot rewrite your past, but you can rewrite your interpretation of it. Every experience can become fuel for growth if you treat it as a lesson rather than a sentence. Taking responsibility also applies to your habits. Your habits are the invisible architecture of your life. If your days are filled with procrastination, distractions, or emotional reactions, your results will reflect that. If your days are filled with discipline, intention, and learning, your results will reflect that too. Responsibility means acknowledging the connection between what you repeatedly do and what you repeatedly experience. It means no longer pretending that success is mysterious or accidental. It means recognizing that each small choice contributes to the larger picture of your life, and those choices are yours to make. Another aspect of responsibility is emotional ownership. Many people let their emotions control them, as if feelings are commands rather than signals. Responsibility means recognizing your emotions without letting them dictate your decisions. You can feel fear and still act. You can feel discouraged and still continue. You can feel uncertain and still move forward. Emotional responsibility frees you from being at the mercy of moods, impulses, or reactions. When you stop allowing feelings to govern your direction, you begin to shape your life based on values, goals, and intention. Finally, responsibility demands that you stop waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting is often a disguise for avoidance. People wait for better timing, more confidence, more clarity, or external permission. But life does not reward waiting, it rewards action. Responsibility means taking initiative even when you feel unprepared, choosing progress over perfection, and trusting that clarity grows from movement. When you accept responsibility fully, your life stops being a series of reactions and begins to become a deliberate creation. Upgrading your mindset is the foundation of rebuilding your life because everything you create, pursue, or change flows outward from your thoughts. Your mindset is the internal lens through which you interpret the world, your circumstances, and yourself. If the lens is limited, cloudy, or distorted, the results you produce will match that distortion. But when you refine the way you think, your actions shift. And when your actions shift, your life begins to take a new shape. Many people attempt to change their behavior without first transforming their thinking, and they end up frustrated because they are fighting against an inner system that has not yet been rebuilt. Real change begins not with what you do, but with what you believe and how you think about your potential. A powerful mindset does not mean constant positivity or unrealistic optimism. It means clarity. It means developing a mental framework that recognizes possibility rather than defaulting to limitation. When challenges appear, a limited mindset says, "This is too difficult, I can't." An upgraded mindset says, "This is difficult, but I can learn what I need." The difference between those two responses determines whether a person stagnates or grows. Your mindset sets the boundaries of your life. It quietly dictates what risks you're willing to take, what opportunities you believe you deserve, and what effort you're willing to put in. If you believe you lack potential, you will not attempt the things that could unlock it. If you believe effort won't matter, you will never discover what persistence can create. Changing your mindset means challenging these invisible barriers and replacing them with beliefs that support growth. One of the first steps in upgrading your mindset is becoming aware of your internal dialogue. People often underestimate how deeply their self-talk influences their lives. Thoughts like, "I always fail," "I'm not good enough," or "things never work out for me," become mental scripts, and over time, you begin to live according to those scripts. Awareness exposes these patterns, and once they are exposed, they can be rewritten. When you consciously replace limiting thoughts with empowering ones, you begin to shift your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone capable, someone adaptable, someone worthy of improvement. This shift does not happen instantly. It happens through repeated practice, through catching yourself in old thinking and choosing a new response. Over time, the new thoughts become more natural, and the old ones begin to lose their influence. Upgrading your mindset also involves expanding your perspective. Many people remain stuck because they only see life through the narrow window of their past experiences. They assume that what has been will always be, but a growth mindset requires you to adopt a broader view, to understand that your past is a chapter, not a verdict. Expanding your perspective means exposing yourself to new ideas, new information, new environments, and new examples of what is possible. Books, mentors, conversations, challenges, failures, achievements. Each of these can stretch your thinking. As your perspective widens, your understanding of what you can create widens with it. Another component of an upgraded mindset is learning to view failure differently. Most people fear failure because they believe it defines them. When they fall short, they interpret it as a reflection of their worth or ability. But a growth-oriented mindset recognizes failure as feedback. It sees mistakes as part of the process of mastery rather than evidence that one should quit. When you view failure as information, not humiliation, you free yourself to experiment, to try again, to improve. This shift alone can transform your entire trajectory because progress is rarely linear. It is built on attempts, adjustments, and persistence. Upgrading your mindset also means strengthening your sense of personal agency, the belief that your actions influence your outcomes. If you believe that life is entirely controlled by luck, circumstances, or other people, you will never access your full potential. But when you develop the belief that your choices matter, that your effort compounds, and that your direction is in your hands, you begin to act with intention. This belief is not about arrogance. It is about acknowledging your role in shaping your life. It is about recognizing that growth is possible and that you can participate in creating it. Finally, upgrading your mindset means embracing curiosity instead of fear, discipline instead of procrastination, and possibility instead of resignation. It means choosing thoughts that align with the future you want rather than the limitations you've carried. It means consciously shaping the inner world from which your outer world emerges. When your mind changes, your life cannot stay the same. Designing a clear personal vision is one of the most powerful steps in rebuilding yourself because it gives direction, purpose, and meaning to the effort you put into your life. Without a vision, life becomes reactive. You wake up each day responding to circumstances instead of guiding them. You move through routines without intention, and you follow paths simply because they are familiar, not because they lead somewhere meaningful. A clear vision brings focus. It turns vague desires into defined aims, and it transforms scattered energy into purposeful action. When you know who you want to become and the kind of life you want to create, every decision becomes easier because you have a standard to measure it against. The question shifts from, what should I do? To, does this move me closer to or further from my vision? That clarity saves time, protects your energy, and shapes your priorities. Most people never create a personal vision because they are too busy surviving the present to design the future. They move from day to day without pausing long enough to ask themselves deeper questions about what they truly want. They accept the life handed to them rather than crafting the one that aligns with their values and potential. Designing a vision requires stepping back from noise, pressure, and expectations long enough to look inward. It requires honesty about what fulfills you, what challenges you, what inspires you, and what kind of contribution you want to make. This internal work may feel uncomfortable because it forces you to confront whether the life you are living matches the life you desire. But that discomfort is important. It signals the gap between who you are and who you could be. A personal vision is not about perfect clarity in every detail. It is about defining the person you intend to become and the direction you want your life to move in. This includes understanding the qualities you want to embody: strength, discipline, compassion, courage, resilience, as well as the achievements and lifestyle you hope to build. A vision gives your future structure. It helps you see beyond temporary setbacks and daily frustrations. When you know where you are heading, obstacles become part of the process instead of signs that you should quit. A clear vision also protects you from the influence of others. When you lack direction, you are easily pulled into other people's expectations, goals, and opinions. But when your vision is strong, you navigate your own path with confidence. You become less susceptible to comparison because you measure your progress against your personal blueprint, not someone else's timeline. Designing a personal vision also encourages long-term thinking. It pushes you to consider how your daily actions compound over years, not just how they make you feel in the moment. Without vision, it is easy to choose comfort over growth, distraction over discipline, and familiarity over progress. But when the future you want is clear and meaningful, you are more willing to endure temporary discomfort for long-term reward. You begin to see that small habits accumulate into significant change when they are aligned with a larger purpose. This shifts your relationship with discipline. Instead of feeling like a burden, discipline becomes an investment in the life you are intentionally building. Another important aspect of designing a vision is imagining possibilities beyond what you have experienced. Many people limit their vision because they only consider what seems realistic based on their past. But a vision should expand your sense of possibility, not shrink it. It should reflect who you can become, not just who you have been. Creating a vision requires courage. The courage to admit that you want more, the courage to believe you can grow, and the courage to dream beyond your current circumstances. This does not mean fantasizing or ignoring reality. It means giving yourself permission to pursue a future that excites you instead of settling for one that merely sustains you. A personal vision also acts as a source of motivation. When your why is strong, discipline becomes more natural. You stop working only for external rewards and start working because the future you envision matters deeply to you. A vision ignites determination. It reminds you that every step you take, no matter how small, contributes to the person you are becoming. It helps you remain steady through uncertainty because you are anchored to something meaningful. You no longer drift, you advance. Designing a clear personal vision is not a one-time activity. It evolves as you grow. As your experiences expand, as your values clarify, and as your understanding deepens, your vision will refine itself. What matters is that you begin. The moment you define your direction, you stop living by accident and start living with intention. Cultivating daily disciplines is the practical engine behind personal transformation, because no matter how powerful your intentions are, they only take shape through consistent action. Discipline is the bridge between the person you are today and the person you want to become. Many people wait for motivation to strike before they act, but motivation is unreliable. It rises and falls with mood, energy, and circumstances. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It is the commitment to follow through with actions that support your goals, even when you don't feel like it. This steady commitment is what shapes character, strengthens habits, and accumulates into lasting change. When you choose discipline daily, you take ownership of your direction instead of leaving it to chance. Daily disciplines matter because they compound. A small habit performed consistently is far more powerful than a large effort performed occasionally. Most of the progress you make in life will come from ordinary actions repeated with intention. Reading a few pages each day, improving a skill for 15 minutes, practicing gratitude, exercising briefly, reflecting on your progress, or taking one small step toward a long-term goal might seem insignificant in the moment. But over months and years, these seemingly small actions alter the trajectory of your life. Discipline magnifies the impact of small efforts by adding time and consistency. Without discipline, potential remains unrealized because the actions required to unlock it are never repeated long enough to produce results. Another reason daily discipline is transformative is that it strengthens your identity. Every disciplined action reinforces a message you send to yourself. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who moves toward my goals. I am someone capable of doing hard things. The more you practice discipline, the more you believe in your ability to handle challenges. This internal belief becomes fuel, making it easier to stay committed the next time you face resistance. Undisciplined days, on the other hand, often weaken confidence because they reinforce the belief that you can't rely on yourself. Discipline is not just a behavior, it is an identity-building practice. Each time you honor your commitments, you strengthen the foundation of self-trust upon which bigger achievements can be built. Daily disciplines also help you manage and use your time more effectively. Without discipline, time slips away unnoticed, wasted on distractions and impulses. Discipline creates structure. It prioritizes what matters over what is convenient. It helps you distinguish between urgent and important tasks so your days are spent building rather than reacting. When you consistently engage in productive routines, your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become more intentional, and your priorities become more aligned with your goals. Days begin to feel purposeful instead of chaotic. You experience more progress and less stress because you are no longer pulled in every direction. You have chosen a direction, and discipline helps you stay on course. Another powerful aspect of daily discipline is the resilience it builds. When you practice discipline, you naturally encounter resistance, moments when you feel tired, distracted, discouraged, or overwhelmed. Every time you push through that resistance, you strengthen mental toughness. Discipline teaches you how to act even when conditions aren't perfect. It teaches you to show up even when circumstances aren't convenient. This kind of resilience becomes invaluable in life because challenges are inevitable. People who rely only on feeling good to take action collapse the moment discomfort appears. People who rely on discipline endure because they have trained themselves to persist through difficulty. This resilience is one of the greatest gifts discipline provides. Cultivating daily disciplines also protects your long-term goals from being undermined by short-term impulses. Human nature gravitates toward immediate gratification, comfort, entertainment, avoidance, anything that feels good right now. But long-term success often requires doing the unglamorous work that doesn't produce instant rewards. Daily discipline balances this by grounding you in actions that support your future rather than indulging impulses that satisfy the moment but sabotage progress. With discipline, you make choices that align with your vision instead of choices dictated by temporary emotions. Over time, this creates a powerful sense of alignment between your actions and your aspirations. Consistency in discipline does not mean perfection. There will be days when you fall short or lose momentum. What matters is returning to your routines rather than abandoning them. Discipline is a practice, not a performance. Each day is a new opportunity to reaffirm your commitment. The more you show up, even imperfectly, the stronger the habit becomes. Eventually, the actions that once felt difficult become natural. They become part of who you are rather than tasks you force yourself to complete. At that point, discipline transforms into lifestyle, and lifestyle transforms into results. Cultivating daily disciplines is the heart of rebuilding yourself because it turns intention into reality, potential into progress, and desires into achievements. It is the quiet, consistent work that most people overlook, yet it is the work that creates lasting transformation. Choosing better associations is one of the most influential decisions you can make when rebuilding yourself because the people around you shape your mindset, your habits, your energy, and even your sense of what is possible. Human beings are naturally affected by their environment, And the people you interact with daily are a major part of that environment. Whether you realize it or not, you absorb attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs from those around you. If you spend your time with people who complain, make excuses, fear change, or settle for less, their mindset begins to influence yours. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who pursue growth, take responsibility, and push for improvement, their energy lifts you. Associations are not just social choices. They are strategic decisions that directly influence the direction of your life. People often underestimate how contagious attitudes are. Negativity spreads quickly. Cynicism spreads quickly. Laziness spreads quickly. When you spend enough time with individuals who constantly speak of limitations, you start to see limitations everywhere. This happens subtly through small comments, shared frustrations, or habitual pessimism. Over time, this mindset becomes normal to you. You begin to think in similar patterns, not because you chose to, but because humans adapt to the environment they repeatedly experience. This is why choosing better associations is essential. You are guarding your mindset from being shaped by influences that do not align with your goals. But just as negative environments can pull you down, positive environments can elevate you. Spending time with people who are disciplined, optimistic, goal-driven, and focused naturally motivates you to rise to a higher standard. You begin to absorb their language, their work ethic, their sense of possibility. Their achievements expand your idea of what you can achieve. Their habits make your excuses feel small. Their persistence encourages you to push through your own challenges. Simply being around people who expect more from themselves inspires you to expect more from yourself. This exposure is often what sparks breakthroughs. You begin to realize that growth is not just something others can achieve. It is something you can participate in too. Choosing better associations also means seeking relationships that hold you accountable. Accountability is a powerful catalyst for growth. When you have people in your life who challenge you to honor your commitments, who point out when you are slipping, and who encourage you to get back on track, you grow faster. These people are not critics. They are supporters who genuinely want to see you improve. They don't allow you to settle for mediocrity because they know you are capable of more. Accountability partners, mentors, and friends who value growth provide the external structure that helps you stay aligned with your goals when your internal motivation wavers. Better associations expose you to new ideas and perspectives. When you only interact with people who think the same way you've always thought, your vision becomes limited. You stay within the boundaries of your comfort zone because no one challenges your assumptions. But when you surround yourself with people who think differently, who have broader experience, or who have achieved what you aspire to achieve, your understanding expands. You learn strategies you never considered. You discover possibilities you never imagined. You begin to see that your previous limitations were often mental, not actual. This widening of perspective is crucial for personal growth because you can only pursue what you believe is possible. Choosing better associations also means recognizing when certain relationships are holding you back. Not all connections are meant to continue in the same way forever. Some relationships are built on old versions of who you used to be. As you grow, those connections may no longer align with your values or direction. This does not require resentment or conflict. It simply requires honesty. You cannot rebuild yourself while staying anchored to people who reinforce your old patterns. Letting go or creating distance may feel uncomfortable, but it is often necessary for progress. You are not abandoning people. You are honoring your growth. Better associations also nurture your emotional well-being. The right people bring encouragement, support, and understanding. They celebrate your progress, remind you of your strengths, and help you navigate difficult times without sinking into discouragement. Their presence makes the journey feel less overwhelming. Emotional support is not a luxury. It is a strength that sustains long-term growth. When you feel supported, you take bigger steps, make braver decisions, and recover more quickly from setbacks. Ultimately, the people you choose to surround yourself with influence your identity. Humans naturally adapt to the group they spend the most time with. If you want to rebuild yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable, choose to be around people who embody those qualities. Associations are powerful because they shape not just your environment, but your beliefs, your behavior, and eventually your destiny. Embracing the long game is essential for rebuilding yourself because meaningful transformation is not something that happens quickly or dramatically. Real change grows slowly, layer by layer, through consistent effort, patience, and persistence. Many people desire fast results, believing that success should come in sudden breakthroughs or overnight achievements. But the truth is that lasting growth is a process that unfolds over time, shaped by small decisions repeated daily. When you understand and accept that the journey is long, you release the pressure to be perfect immediately. You give yourself permission to learn, adjust, stumble, and continue. This shift in perspective creates a foundation of resilience because you stop judging yourself based on immediate results and start focusing on steady progress. Seeing life as a long game helps you rethink your relationship with time. In a world that celebrates speed and instant gratification, it's easy to feel discouraged when progress is slow. But slow progress is still progress. Most of what you want, whether it is confidence, skill, discipline, financial stability, emotional maturity, or inner peace, cannot be rushed. These qualities require practice, and practice requires time. When you embrace the long game, you begin to understand that each day is not a test of your worth, but a brick in the structure you are building. You focus on what you can do today, trusting that the accumulation of these actions will eventually produce results. This perspective allows you to stay committed, even when the payoff is not yet visible. The long game teaches you the importance of consistency. Anyone can work hard for a short period when motivation is high or conditions are convenient, but transformation requires sustained effort long after the excitement fades. Consistency is what separates temporary improvement from permanent change. Embracing the long game means accepting that growth often feels repetitive and unglamorous. It means showing up on days when you feel energized and on days when you feel indifferent. It means choosing habits that support your future over distractions that satisfy the moment. When you view your journey as long-term, you stop expecting dramatic shifts and start valuing steady movement forward. Another reason embracing the long game is powerful is because it changes how you respond to setbacks. In the short-term mindset, setbacks feel like failure. They create frustration, self-doubt, and the temptation to give up. But in the long game, setbacks are seen as part of the process. They stop being reasons to quit and become opportunities for learning. You recognize that detours, mistakes, and delays do not erase your progress. They refine you. They teach you patience, adaptability, and humility. When you think long-term, you no longer expect a perfect journey. You expect a real one. And that expectation makes you stronger because you no longer crumble when challenges arise. Embracing the long game also helps you develop discipline and emotional stability. When you understand that growth takes time, you become less reactive to temporary emotions. You stop letting frustration, boredom, or impatience dictate your actions. Instead, you learn to act based on commitment rather than mood. You know that feelings come and go, but your goals remain. This emotional steadiness becomes one of your greatest strengths. It keeps you anchored when others quit. It allows you to keep moving even when progress is invisible. It builds maturity by teaching you that meaningful rewards require long-term dedication. The long game invites you to build systems instead of relying on bursts of effort. Short-term thinking pushes you to chase quick fixes or shortcuts, but long-term thinking encourages you to create routines, structures, and habits that support you consistently. These systems make success sustainable because they do not depend on occasional motivation. They integrate your goals into your lifestyle. Over time, these systems reduce friction, conserve energy, and make progress feel natural rather than forced. This is how you transform from someone who occasionally improves into someone who continually evolves. Embracing the long game also broadens your perspective. It helps you realize that growth is not just about achieving goals, but about becoming the kind of person who can handle those goals. The journey shapes your character, strengthens your resilience, and deepens your self-awareness. You begin to appreciate that the process is as important as the outcome. This mindset allows you to maintain gratitude and patience even while striving for more. It helps you stay humble and grounded because you understand that transformation is ongoing. Seeing your life through the lens of the long game gives you freedom. You no longer rush your progress or compare your timeline to others. You stop demanding immediate perfection from yourself and start valuing long-term improvement. You learn to trust the rhythm of your own growth and to stay committed even when results are gradual. The long game is not about slowness. It is about sustainability. It is about building a life that lasts, a mindset that endures, and a version of yourself that grows stronger with time. As we come to the end of this message, remember this: rebuilding yourself is not a single decision. It is a daily commitment. It's the choice to take responsibility for your path, to transform your mindset, to design a vision that excites you, to honor the disciplines that shape you, to surround yourself with people who elevate you, and to stay patient with the long journey ahead. You don't need to become a new person overnight. You simply need to become a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more intentional each day. The life you desire is not beyond reach. It's built through steady steps, courageous choices, and the belief that you are worthy of a better version of yourself. So step forward with confidence. Trust the process. Allow yourself to grow at your own pace. Your future is not waiting for perfection. It's waiting for your commitment.